talk. But we needed the mother to hear the voice of a mother who lost a man-child to suicide. So again, I'm presenting to you Assistant Deputy Mayor Barry Ford. He is the overseer of BCPC, which is Brick City Peace Collective, OVPTR, and the Office of Consensual Affairs. So he's going to give you some information about that. And I had an opportunity to meet him in the training as well. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
Just really quickly, and for the record, I'm sorry, I don't care about the titles at all. I just, for the sake of letting them be said, let them be said. At the end of the day, when we're doing this work in the community, it has nothing to do with these titles. It has everything to do with what we're doing in the street. Again, my name is Barry Ford. I am the Assistant Deputy Mayor of Public Safety. I'm here definitely representing our Deputy Mayor of Public Safety, Mr. Keisha Yuri, the Brick City Peace Collective Executive Director, Josiah Paul, and the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery Director, Kalisha Winfield Hill. Now, this topic is really, when I was first asked to come here and talk about, just men's health and different things like that, it rung so true that I can come in and talk about the work that we do. When I first took this job 5 years ago, I thought I was gonna come into this job and it was like, yeah, we're gonna help some kids and we're gonna do some things and it'll be great. But what I really wasn't ready for, particularly dealing with young men in our community, was the amount of trauma and hardship that our young men are dealing with. Like Brother White talked about very much in terms of that anger. A major part of our job is crisis response. And with that crisis response, I have responded to well over 100 shooting incidences in the time that I've been here, mostly at University Hospital. And the thing that has always made this work so real when you're talking about trauma is that in that moment, when a family is going through something like that, when they have potentially lost a loved one to gun violence, there's extreme anger, there's extreme pain. Those screams and those different things are things that anyone should never have to hear. And what happens is a lot of times in our communities, I talk about myself growing up originally born and raised in the Bronx. When things happen in our house and we had trauma and hardship, you be all right. You a man, tough it up, do what you gotta do, go out there and do it. But when we get to the core of the majority of these things that we've dealt with in these offices, there's severe, unadulterated trauma that has not been dealt with, it has not been alleviated, and a lot of the after actions in terms of the behavior is coming from that anger being not dealt with. So with that being said, the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery works very much in this community to make sure that we are bringing resources and doing the preventative work and the intermediate work as opposed to the aftermath. When you're talking about public safety and law enforcement, that's after it's already occurred. But how do we stop that stuff in the beginning, and what do we do with that in advance to try to stop that? And a lot of that starts with the supports that we give to the community. Sometimes, even beyond just the mental aspects of it, a lot of it sometimes is just basic situational things and needs that people have not met. If people don't have the basic food, don't have homes and are transient, if they don't have basic resources, those things continue to build upon that trauma that's already there. So as an office, we do have outreach staff, and we do have social workers that are able to help people get the resources they need. We try to push mental health supports first and foremost in terms of everything that we do. We have a staff of senior medical social workers, master social workers, and social work support, just different levels of education, but are able to help individuals in terms of finding that counseling. We even outsource externally to Rutgers, UPHC, and other places if people need very high levels of that mental support. Another critical thing that we do is around mentoring and support of young men. The Brick City Peace Collective, that collective is essentially representative of our entire public safety ecosystem in the city. So where the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery is an office and it's a city direct entity in terms of a direct service, BCPC is that gathering table that also comes to the city, but it gathers all of our community partners. At this point, what are we now? Probably about 60 partners or so in terms of the Brick City Peace, and yes, and counting. In fact, I want to see how we need the Men's Village down with the Brick City Peace Collective, because a lot of this work that we're dealing with young men is really, really critical, and we need that kind of mentoring and that type of stuff to support. But we had that team every month. They have a meeting at 311 Washington where they're sitting down. We work with Newark Public Safety Collaborative, and we're looking at the data around crime and violence and different things like that. And collaboratively, you have organizations who represent all 5 wards of the city and all different types of interests, whether that be education, whether that be employment, whether that be mental health support, mentoring, youth development, and they're able to collaboratively plan. What's great about BCPC is that whether someone's in the north or whether someone's in the south or in the central, you have individuals that understand the specific nuances of trauma in those areas and the issues that are happening, the history of those things. And when they come together collectively like that and they're able to do that work, we're able to have very significant effects. Now, if you look at our crime statistics and data and you look at our reports and you see the mayor, the state of the city, we often talk about the fact that we are at 62-year lows in terms of homicides by gun violence, homicides in general, and a number of different other violent crimes are on the rise. That's not by accident in any way. That's not just law enforcement. That is actually the community partners and the organizations getting out there, like Leaders for Life, like the Community Safe Zone, like a number of our different organizations, the Newark Community Street Team. They all get out there, and because they have that understanding of what's going on in that post, they're able to work collaboratively to do that work and do programming. Another great thing is that with us, we're able to do a lot of direct programming, particularly in the summertime, with young men, and we work specifically on crime. One of our biggest things that's going to happen this year is this is our 6th annual Safe Summer Academy, where we take 150 young people, the majority of them tend to be men, that we're working with, and they spend 1 day a week. This year there'll be at Kane University, and on that day we're doing social emotional learning. We're trying to delve into some of that trauma and some of that hardship and things that have dealt to them, having some of the situations they had. The majority of these young people to be in it have either had to be law involved, they've had to have some sort of traumatic death or something in their family as a result of violence. They've had to have a parent that was been incarcerated or different things like that, and we're really trying to deal with that. And I will tell you, Safe Summer is probably the most challenging thing that we do every year, because when you get these young men collectively in groups, a lot of times they immediately put the front up. They immediately don't want to talk. They don't want to be open. This one, and the other thing about that is that this one, you may have beef with this block and this block over here and what have you. So we spend a whole summer trying to break down that wall and have that understanding that we do understand a lot of the street politics and things that are happening out here. But in this space, we are all young men and women of color trying to work together to be able to work things out and put people on positive paths. The other 3 days a week in that program, they get an internship with the city of Newark or a community partner where they're paid through summer youth employment to be able to go out and do work. So we'll have them in the law department, we'll have them in the OIT department, we'll have them in our own office doing that particular work. So not only are they getting that socio-emotional learning, but they're also getting tangible work experience and understanding and doing goal setting and things that are trying to put them on a positive path to be able to do amazing work as young people. It is tremendous in terms of what you see with our youth when they're going through these sort of things. I know last time we had a young man in the program, and this young man, somebody said something that it was related to his dad, and it triggered him so much that he was like flipping tables up when we at St. Elizabeth's University, and when we were able to calm him down and really talk to him about what was going on, we were able to get to the core of what the issue was and why a particular thing that was said to him unintentionally triggered him in such a way. But that young man had also been incarcerated himself. He had been in the youth house going through different things and got out and what have you. That young man, fortunately, through that experience, we saw that he needed additional help. So we were able to connect him with our community safe zone that's on Springfield Avenue. If you know what it is, I believe it's 500 Springfield Avenue. And Brother Kirby and Brother Sean Bay working with that young man. That young man has been so consistent with us that he has been sent out on behalf of our office multiple times with the National League of Cities to be a representative of some of the issues and challenges that young people face in the city of Newark. And that young man has been a tremendous asset and is working now and is, very much so changes his life and having real goals and expectations for himself. And that's just one of the thousands and thousands of young men, that we're dealing with in the city and we want to help. So, as an office, ultimately with OVP and with the Brick City Peace Collective, we are really here to do that preventative work and also have the preventative work, some of the long-term work as well. Because we talk a lot about, okay, if we stop them from doing it, it's cool. If it happens, okay, we try to deal with them in the moment. But what doesn't happen a lot of times is that thought about what's going to happen 2 or 3 years from now. We think about it now in the moment because it's fresh. But a year from now, have we checked in with them? Have we set them up for some type of long-term counseling and support? Have we set them up in a positive living situation of giving them resources that is going to allow them not just to take resources, but to learn how to generate their own resources and be able to have their own life plans and goals? So as an office, the preventative, the intermediate, and the long-term work is at the core of everything that we're doing. And we just always want to partner with organizations and groups that are willing, to work in betterment, because the reality is, and it's no secret, as a city, we are limited in terms of funds and budgeting and what we can even do with municipal dollars. So it is the community and the partnerships, particularly through Brick City Peace Collective, that allow us to get out there and do some of this work with people who already again understand the community, understand and know a lot of these young people, young men in particular, and are able to help them. So we've been here now a little over 5 years as an office. We have our outreach team who is out there regularly. They do community walks at least 4 days a week. They're going through all 5 wards of the city. They focus on the highest crime areas in terms of where things have happened. They're knocking on doors. They're trying to get information from that community to be able to bring back and help us plan what types of resources we have coming up. This year, in addition to State Summer Academy, we will also see our pop-up play streets that will be all throughout the city. They'll be across all 5 wards, where you get families to come out and be able just to relax and enjoy themselves. So we have the bouncy houses. Sometimes we do the roller rinks in the summer, but we do it particularly in these areas where this trauma is, because you want to get people out to engage them and realize that even though they may live in situations where there is this documented crime and violence, they can still come and have safe and peaceful time and get the resources that they need. One of the biggest misconceptions that I've learned in the time I've been in the city is that people always say, oh, we don't have anything in Newark. I reside in Newark myself. We don't have anything in Newark. We have tons of resources. The issue is people either don't understand that they're there or know where to get them, or don't essentially understand the purpose of them and how easy they are to use them. So the more that we can get out there and get those resources to people and get things done during the summer, that's really critical. Also, Brick City Peace Collective, typically throughout the year, they're doing tons of different events. They also do a Peace Academy in the fall and the spring, which is separate from our Summer Academy, which is basically a shorter iteration of that in the school year, where the young people are actually working on the same sort of things. So we're doing this kind of work with young people, particularly young men, during the full aspect of the year, and we just want to make sure that people understand that we are a resource. Our main office is on 1017th Avenue, right between Urban Turner and Bergen. And you can, huh? Yep, the first precinct before, it's the fourth, or the substation now, at the old, yes. I thought it was the first. The first, this is weird. For more information on the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery and the Brick City Peace Collective, please call 973-733-5655 or visit us at our website, ovptr.org. Thank you.